You're listening to the Millennial Minute Podcast, giving this generation what they want to hear.
Yo, what's up, guys? This is your boy Rod, and welcome to a brand spanking new episode of the Millennial Minute. We are back in the studio, like we said on our last episode. We're just going to be coming back because coronavirus doesn't exist. It's not real. It's all a hoax. Devil's Law and the deep state.
Yes,
doesn't exist.
Our rights will not be infringed upon.
No, and we're not wearing masks.
Is that why you guys are not wearing masks?
Yes. That is why.
Just to be infringed upon.
We came in and we coughed in each other's faces too.
That's the new greeting now.
Yeah. And we're coughing into
Were
these
you guys
mics.
the Karens and Kevins in Orange County, in the court in Orange County?
Yes.
Kevins and Karens.
Masks are infringing upon my rights.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So we're not wearing masks.
My body, my choice.
Just
my body, my choice.
There you go. So let's go around real quick. Let's introduce who is here for the pod today.
Let's start with you, sir.
Well, you already know who this is.
Who this?
You already know who it is. So,
you know who it is.
So this is Rod, like I said before I started the podcast. But we got Do-Rag Daddy Speaks.
Hey, what's good, everybody? How we doing today?
We got the Funko Pop Queen in T.
Hello there.
We got all the way from the district of Chibs. We got Chibs.
The district
of
Chibs.
Yeah. Chibs is running DC right now. He kicked Donald Trump out the White House.
Ooh.
Now it's just the Chibs house.
Now it's just the Black House.
It's a Black House now. My president is black and my Lambo's blue. So, and we also got all the way in Arizona. We got a Leaf. Say what's up to the people.
Hey.
Also
doing his best white girl impersonation.
Hey. Doing his best Karen impersonation. I need to see your manager. Speaking of managers, the managers of this podcast are Productive Culture.
Hey.
If you're looking for production, mixing, sound design, or you're just looking to start your own podcast, Productive Culture is where you need to go. They've hooked us up and they've helped our podcast. They've helped take our podcast to the next level. They can do the same for y'all. So stop putting out those sorry podcasts, guys. Mm-hmm. If you've been thinking of starting your rap career or podcast, just stop thinking about it and just do it. So you can hit up Productive Culture at their website, productiveculture.com/podcast, or reach out to them. Where did Leaf go? Or reach out to them via their Instagram at Productive Culture. So that's once again, productiveculture.com/podcast. And their Instagram at Productive Culture. Let them know the Millennial Minute sent you, and you will get hooked up.
And that's called an ad.
Words are hard.
And that's called an ad read.
Yes.
The Millennial
Minute. We also got to give a shout out to our boys over at 3-Bit Games.
The boys,
black-owned businesses. We stand. We love to see it.
We stand. We support them. They help you out. Oh, they help you out. Yeah, they do help you out.
They do.
They help you out. They help you out with anything that you guys need as far as collectibles go. Funko Pops, comics, video games, used, new. They got it.
Yes, they got you.
You want it? They got it.
I was gonna
dripping
say
like
that.
Hey, water.
And dripping like water. They also reopen and they're ready for your business. You can find them at 1600 East Holt Avenue, space K24 in Pomona.
California.
So for all the IE baddies and bad boys that are into Funko Pops, trading cards, etc., hit them up. Go and visit them. Support a black-owned business. You can also find them on Instagram at 3-Bit Games. So shout out to 3-Bit Games and shout out to our listeners for supporting black-owned podcasts.
Yes.
Black/minority.
You did it.
You did it, guys. You did the bare minimum.
You did the bare minimum.
Do they sell Yu-Gi-Oh cards?
They do.
I'm sure they do. So
they do.
If you're
All
nostalgic.
right, well, I need to go get me a Blue Eyes White Dragon.
That's right.
Chib's gonna leave both Blue Eyes White Dragon. That's the card that they missed when they were children. But maybe they might. Go to their Instagram to find out at 3-Bit Games.
Yes.
Now, getting into our episode, T, we had a very special new Patreon subscriber.
Hey.
Let's give him a shout out.
Oh my God! Did they
Hold
donate
up.
$25 to enter a raffle to go on a one-on-one date with T?
No, surprisingly,
gosh.
we haven't gotten anybody who wants to go on a date with T.
I don't need
You
a
guys,
date.
T is
I'm
now.
fine.
Bro, she's single as fuck.
Wow, you don't gotta do me like that.
T is accepting applications from anybody and everybody, guys.
Yes.
T
All
has
you
been
need is
lonely.
$25.
All you need, you know what? Now at this point, $1.
Excuse you.
Fuck it, $1 to go on a date with T.
I'd
That's
still
all you
say
need.
Dude,
at
I
least
even posted her
25.
on OnlyFans. Like, they took that shit down.
What?
How about this? We'll pay you to go on a date with T. How about that? We'll pay you $25.
Oh, you're all too kind. What did I do to deserve friends like this?
What did you do, T,
I
in your
don't
past
know.
life?
What was
I
the
don't
So-
know.
So shout.
But yes. Oh, I wanted to shout out Colin. So you can follow him on Instagram.
Hey.
It's Colin Kahlen Barry Barry. He also has a YouTube channel that is poppin', especially if you're into Zodiac stuff. So you can look him
Hey.
up, Colin Barry.
Hey.
Also on Twitter, he's everywhere. So go follow him. We really appreciate the donation right there
Yes.
because
We
it
do.
really helps us out a lot.
Wait,
Yes.
so what they call him do?
He
He
sponsored
sponsored
the
the
pod.
pod.
Hey, shout out to Colin.
Hey, go Colin. Go Colin.
Go Colin.
Now let's make
We
sure that we
appreciate
tag
that.
him for this episode.
We
so
will.
He knows
NASCAR
that
show.
we recognize.
NASCAR Colin show.
NASCAR Colin show.
Thank you, Colin.
Why did that sound kind of good? Speaking
Speaks.
bars over
Yeah.
I
here.
know. Speaks is
Yeah.
a big NASCAR fanatic now.
Oh, of course.
So
of course.
shout out to Colin.
Mhm.
And when you sponsor the pod, when you hit up our Patreon, when you drop that juicy monetary donation.
Yes,
like
reparations
now-
as we call them.
Yes, as Now had referred to them, and as Speaks is calling them reparations.
Yes.
That's gonna be the only tier now, just reparations on our Patreon. Reparations, guys. So when you drop in that juicy donation, you guys get to select a topic that we get to discuss on the podcast.
Yes.
This week's topic is gonna be maybe a little conspiracy, maybe a little controversial, depending on what side of the aisle you're sitting on.
Yes.
But we're gonna be talking about Bernie Sanders, guys.
The boy.
Da boy Bernie Sanders.
Double.
Da boy.
Is he the one that made Kentucky Fried? Is that him?
The Kentucky Fried Chicken CEO.
Yes.
So Bernie Sanders has unfortunately lost 2 consecutive Democratic nominations. One to Hillary Clinton, Epstein. Sorry. And then the second one to Sleepy Joe Biden, as
Sleepy
a lot of people
Joe.
may refer to him. And there's been this conspiracy that we've been seeing on Twitter, on the news, that the DNC they don't like Bernie. They're not big fans of him. They've been snubbing him on purpose. Bernie doesn't want to play ball with the big cats on Wall Street.
Yes.
Therefore, a lot of people don't like him. So we're going to discuss today. Do we think that there's any validity to that? Or do we think that a lot of Bernie stands and supporters are upset that this is the
So
second time
we're
losing?
talking about a conspiracy theory.
Not necessarily.
Um,
I guess some would call it that.
You sound very disappointed.
No. It's
No.
I'm just saying, like,
Uh,
if it's not based on fact, then it's a conspiracy, right?
NASCAR show. I don't know.
I mean, it could always be a theory, show. It
I
could be a
mean,
theory that
hey,
someone
there's
has.
al- Is there
What does
alternative
lightning-
facts?
Hey, how does
The
Lightning
alternative
McQueen
facts,
say
there you go.
ka-chow if he has the gap teeth?
Wait, what?
I'm confused.
How does Lightning McQueen say ka-chow if he has gap teeth?
I don't know.
Go for
I
it.
don't get it.
Kathao.
Wow.
I
Moving
don't-
on.
I don't get it.
And I think we need. I think we need a.
Moving on.
We need a minute.
Someone cut a leaf out of the podcast.
We need a minute, a millennial minute.
Yes, we need a millennial minute away from
Oh,
the leaf.
Okay,
So,
yes.
T, bring us into it.
So we are going to have one whole minute to give our opinion on this, whether we think that it is something that happened, it's a conspiracy, whatever you want to say about it.
Mhm. So we'll
We'll
start
s-
off with Chibs. Sorry again
Just
with the
kidding.
sexism.
Wow.
I thought you were
Listen,
gonna
listen.
forget. I had to do your job for you. I had to take
know,
your pay.
jeez,
Listen,
taking
well-
my job.
No,
I'm
no,
gonna-
it's okay. We'll do darkest lightest this time. So it's
Oh, okay. So how's this gonna go?
Sorry for the sexism.
You're taking her job.
You're taking her job.
So, are we doing this by what?
You can choose. Sorry, I didn't want to.
Rod's all mad. You choose now.
No. I don't want people to come for me, please.
Okay, we'll go Chibs a leaf, and then we'll go Speaks, and you'll go last, just for the hell of it.
That's right.
Damn.
In the back of the bus.
I'm sorry, guys. I will Venmo T $2 million
Yay!
now.
Ooh, that's a lot of money.
I want to know where this money was at for the podcast.
Apologies for the
Anyways.
sexism.
I know. Hold up.
All right.
Okay, so
Oh, Ready, set, and go.
Down team.
Go for it.
All right. Well, I mean, I I kind of I'm on the fence about it, just because like Alif said it earlier, where are the facts? But also, yes, I feel the institutions do not like Bernie, so this is looking real suspicious.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, my line of thought is not exactly, but it is along Chibuzo's. Like, where are the facts? But it's not, to me, it's not totally far fetched.
Okay.
That this possibly happened to him.
Yes, definitely been blackballed. Definitely been blackballed.
All right.
Go. It's you.
I said
He did.
He has definitely been blackballed.
Okay, shut up. I think it is possible. It is possible. I wouldn't put it past the government. Okay, go.
I think
seconds.
that there is some validity to that.
All right.
5 seconds. Anybody else?
No. Give that countdown
3,
for...
2, 1.
Hey!
All right, looks so excited.
I want to start with Speaks.
Oh, okay.
Speaks,
like,
blackballed.
Because you said definitely been blackballed.
Oh, yes.
Why do you say that? Where are your sources coming from?
It's not sources. I think if you hear a duck quack long enough, you can definitely assume it's a duck.
What is the duck quacking?
What does this mean?
Yeah,
so
who is the
what
duck?
analogy
So
is
basically,
this?
this analogy.
What I'm saying is,
are you talking about the
if
ugly
this
duck
person,
thing?
no, I
Duck?
think
Like,
that
so-
Bernie has been spewing and been preaching the same messages for the longest amount of time.
Mm-hmm.
He's been very consistent in his views. He definitely 100% cares about the people, and anybody that's in the United States that has a little bit of money in power is very threatened by that.
Mm-hmm.
For sure. I do not think that it is a coincidence that this person, who people that are usually around our age seem to gravitate towards, seem to like what he's talking about, seem to think that he's on our side, and we don't get our voices heard. The other point is that Rod made earlier, while we were kind of going over our episodes, was that a lot of those people, the 18 to 25s, I believe you said, did not vote.
Mm-hmm.
So is it completely conspiracy? No. Or is it completely factual to say that he's just been blackballed? No. But I do think that if you notice a trend, that's what I was saying. If it quacks like a duck, it probably is a duck. If you're noticing trends that lean towards it kind of making it seem like he's been blackballed, he has been blackballed. That's like the NFL saying Colin Kaepernick wasn't blackballed.
Okay. Alif, Chibs, is there anything that you wanted to add to that statement? Do you 100% agree with that? I was thinking that maybe we can split up this conversation into 2 parts, because you did have the first instance where this happened, where it was Bernie and Hillary going head to head. And you do remember that there was a meeting between Obama and Bernie where Obama had asked Bernie to step down and to give Hillary the nomination, because he wasn't going to win and that nobody was going to back Bernie up if even if he had won, that no one on the Democratic side was going to back him up for president. So to me, I think that that's a good place to start. Do you think that that was shady in itself for Obama to even call him in and be like, yo, just quit, dog. Don't even roll with this.
I don't know. I don't like that.
I mean, if you put it that way,
I'm uncomfy.
First of all, I wasn't there for that conversation.
I wasn't in the room with Obama.
That's the only way. That's the only way we can know for sure.
So
if you're in the room.
Yes, I agree with Chibs.
Hold up.
We the boys.
None of us were there for that conversation. But if it went down the way you said it, how you just explained it, Rod, then yeah, it seems pretty shady.
Mind you,
because I'm pretty sure there's more. What I'm trying to say is that it's because we weren't there. We don't know any additional details.
Guys,
mind you, I'm just spark noting this. I'm not even saying verbatim. I wasn't in the room also, but
you weren't there.
I wasn't there.
Nope.
I'm sorry. Fake news. But Chibs was there. Chibs was there spying on Obama.
You know what, T? This is why nobody wants to donate $25.
Yeah. Okay.
What are you talking about?
So
this is a lot.
Chibs, before I cut the speaks, Chibs, did you have anything to add to a Leaf statement or like that first instance where Bernie was kind of snubbed? Do you think that that's how the conversation went down? Do you think people were kind of blown out of proportion?
Right, but I will say, when it comes to the first part with him being blackballed, I feel like with Hillary, 100%. I do feel like that definitely the leaders in the Democratic Party definitely back the resources to Hillary because it's supposed to be kind of like this like impartial thing where just kind of like let the people just run and like don't really influence it. But like the higher ups in the party really did kind of like use their influence and resources to kind of like push Hillary forward and Bernie to the side. You know, I'm not really sure when people say like what the conspiracy is, you know, per se, because in the end, it's just like kind of like people voting, you know. So it's not like Hillary went into the ballot box, took out all the Bernie votes, put in more Hillary votes, you know, like that kind of conspiracy that you're talking about. But no, like in the end, people just vote. I'm just saying that like the higher ups still that use their resource and influence more towards Hillary than towards Bernie, which kind of created an unfair advantage.
Okay, so what we can say is maybe in 2016 that there wasn't a conspiracy where the election was rigged, just the DNC was putting in more resources to promote Hillary, to back Hillary, rather than for Bernie.
That sounds more,
That sounds more realistic.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because we all know Hillary's been a little shady.
Email.
Delete. Epstein.
But let's bring out Epstein. Let's see what he has to say.
Oh my, yeah. Let's roll him out here.
Oh no.
And Jeffrey Epstein.
Coming from the grave.
Yeah.
No.
Well, his accomplice had just
stop.
gotten arrested this week.
Oh, I did not read that.
You guys didn't hear about that?
What's her name?
Maxwell?
Maxwell lady.
Yeah.
Maxwell,
didn't she get
Julianne
corona?
Maxwell. That's what COVID. She tested positive. She's already feeling suicidal.
No.
That's what a lot of people are saying.
Oh,
that she's
no.
already not feeling well. That her adjusting from a rich, famous, lavish lifestyle to being in jail is making her suicidal. She's going crazy.
Really?
How convenient, right?
Okay.
We find that odd.
A lot of suspicion.
Millennial conspiracies.
Shroom.
Shroom. NASCAR. Shroom. Bubba Wallace. Shroom. So we don't get too far off. So now we can kind of bring it to Bernie in regards to Joe Biden in this election.
Sleepy Joe.
Sleepy Joe.
Sloppy Joe.
Whoa.
Whoa.
I wasn't expecting that. That kind of threw me
Sloppy
off.
Joe.
Hey, isn't that a dessert?
A
Nah,
dessert.
What?
It's like a meat burger type thing. What kind
It's
of
like a
food
pancake,
are
right?
you
What
fucking
kind of
eating?
what kind of family reunions are you having, bro? Sloppy Joe's a dessert.
Sometimes.
Relax. Anyways, so in regards to Sleepy Sloppy Joe,
Sleepy sloppy.
Sleepy Sloppy Joe, Bernie was a very polarizing candidate.
Yes.
The same way that he was in 2016.
Yes.
A lot of people may have felt that he fell off a little bit from 2016, but it seemed like his support was there. The youth vote was there. People were ready to vote. And it just seemed like he missed the mark in so many key states. A lot of that, and I do suggest that people go to read this. It's in the New York Times, which may or may not be corrupt. I don't know.
Hey.
But Jamel Bowie, who is an opinion columnist, he wrote this article called Bernie Sanders and the Case of the Missing Vote.
Oh.
And he was saying that although in media, on TVs, at Bernie's rallies, it looked like you had a large group ready to support Bernie, ready to go out and vote for Bernie. But a lot of his demo that were going out to vote were between the ages of 18 to 29 years old. And a lot of those voters didn't even go out to vote. They didn't even go out to the polls to vote for Bernie. They were just more on social media, being active, go and vote for Bernie. But the majority of people that you did vote, like in these states like Michigan, were older white people between the ages of 45 to 64 who made up about 62% of like voting in those areas. Yeah.
Sorry,
What's
this
up,
might
team?
be a little bit. Do you want to finish your statement?
That was it. That was the last thing I
okay.
had to say.
Just kind of in regards to younger people voting.
Mhm.
I mean, I don't know about you, or you guys, but I feel like you know how they say jobs are supposed to give you like the chance to go vote.
Yep.
I feel like some like jobs that we have aren't as flexible. And I don't know if you agree.
Have you guys
I mean,
experienced that? Do
yeah,
you have
because-
a story that you want to share?
so I remember voting day, I was working a double
Mhm.
and I had to go all the way back to Walnut to vote, and I was I don't want to say where I live, but yeah, but I live not in Walnut, and so it was there was just no way that I was gonna make it there on time, and because I was working literally all day that day, and I just thought about like other people that are working part-time jobs that can't just get up and leave. Like when I was working at a restaurant, like there's no way I could get up and leave and like, oh, I gotta go vote. Like they would not let me do that.
Gotta do my civic duty real quick.
But I feel like jobs need to be a little bit more lenient, you know? And it's just because it's a part-time job, like you should still be able to, you know, leave
I think not just,
I also think, sorry.
Well,
Chibs, go.
That all voting days should be like, the presidential voting should be a national holiday.
Yeah, no,
That's
I agree.
If you want to bring people the vote out, you gotta make sure everyone's available. So you gotta make it a holiday. No work, go vote.
I agree.
I like that. I like that.
Yes, I was gonna. That's basically what I was going to say.
Hey, okay, I like that.
I think that it's more for like I feel like the voting days, people that work 9 to 5s, it's a little bit easier for them because they go right after work. But then it's like I feel like a lot of people our age are working very crazy odd hours that aren't in between that 9 to 5. Do you know what I mean?
So that could attest to why there's a lot of older voters who maybe have more established careers, more established jobs that are able to maybe go out on a lunch break, take maybe that 1 hour to go and vote.
I mean,
2 hours,
even with that though, sometimes the problem with that is like, oh, you only have X amount of time, but we all know that it does not take 30 minutes to go.
Oh yeah.
But I feel like in some jobs, like okay, you were a server. Like you can't leave in the middle of your serving shift, right?
No.
Like it'd be impossible.
Yeah,
it's a busy job.
100%.
Versus like when I was working in a corporate job, it would be much easier for me to be like, hey,
I
gotta take like an extra hour or so to go vote. They'd be totally fine with it.
Because you just make it up on the back end.
Yeah, a lot of millennials are working, you know, these jobs where it's really busy and you can't just get up and leave.
Server jobs, front desk jobs.
Exactly. Yeah.
Things that require your presence at all times.
Yes.
Yeah.
Then there was also another. Oh, Alif, go.
Maybe in that case, they should. I don't know why we haven't done this, but come up with a way to vote online.
Problem with that would be
way too easy.
Yeah.
Russia has entered the chat.
Yeah,
Russia has entered the chat right now.
Yeah, the minute. Yeah, I mean, can you imagine how many times the site would crash and like there would be such issues with that. I think Gavin.
I mean, that's why you had to prepare and buy set up your structure to accommodate that when people to go online.
I think that Gavin.
Yeah, maybe in 2028, but not this one.
I think Gavin Newsom has the right approach in making sure that everybody gets a mail-in ballot.
Yes.
Yeah.
Get that thing sent to the house, to the address wherever that you stay at, wherever. That way it eliminates everything. Put a certain timeline about when you should be able to send that back in. Go ahead and take it that way.
That's true.
Yes, I mean, I feel like California has got it down.
No, that's what I'm saying. But that's also because Gavin Newsom definitely has an agenda to not let Donald Trump win at all.
Yeah.
Him and it's long, it's long recorded of their constant beef back and forth. And
the only thing that's unfortunate with that is that California wouldn't really affect.
No, not
Donald
at all, because we
Trump
always vote blue.
Yeah.
Always vote blue.
We don't
So
watch
that's
NASCAR, Jim.
Yeah, no.
True.
But I think that's something that more states need to probably adopt and try to push more for, because
mail-in ballots.
Yeah.
I like that.
It's funny just because I feel like there's also like a theory that like more if you expand the voting base, it leans more towards like progressive, and so there's a movement like to suppress voting, because typically if you allow more people to vote, it's going to be more liberal voters.
Yes.
And so there's a lot of voter suppression and manipulation to it.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly.
So they're trying to really stop voting.
Chibs is third eye.
Hotep third eye.
So right.
There was a quote by, and I'm gonna kind of hate that I use this quote, but there was a quote by the main Hotep himself, Dr. Umar Johnson. For those who know, for those who are on Twitter, Dr. Umar Johnson. But he had this quote that I usually don't agree too much with him, but when he said it, I was like, damn. He was like, oh, if voting was able to spark real change, it would therefore be illegal. Like, there would be no way that the government would allow you to vote if it knew that it would actually start changing things.
I mean, they already do that now with the House of Representatives or whatever it is. Where, like, I mean, a lot of times, usually the public vote usually is in line with the overall vote for the House of Representatives and stuff like that. But there have been certain cases. What it was Al Gore and George Bush.
Oh, they messed Al Gore up.
Yeah, where Al Gore won the popular vote, George Bush didn't, and then
well, they had to recount Florida, and then
Florida
Bush
always.
Florida is a simulation.
After that day, Florida just went completely downhill.
Florida isn't real.
Yeah,
it's a simulation.
Florida just somehow does not exist.
I'm telling you,
anything you do in Florida does not count in real life.
Yeah,
it's not even a part of America.
Book your Miami trips now. Anything you do in Florida does not count in real life. Well, really quick, I wanted to ask all of you guys a question, because in this article they brought up this point, kind of alluding to what Chibs just said about how in schools we don't teach our kids how to vote.
Very true.
How that could be a form of voter suppression, because when you're 18, do you feel confident enough to vote? When you're 20, do you feel confident stepping in that booth to vote as a 20-year-old? 21, I think that we all start taking the training wheels off and you feel confident. But at 18,
you don't really
know what you're going into to do. It feels like a test sometimes. You're like, oh, I'm kind of nervous. What do I do?
They even put up the little things to make it feel like a test. You know, you sitting there like,
So do you think that that's something that could affect it? When you guys were 18, we can start off with T and then go around the horn. But when you were 18, did you feel confident in voting? Did you vote when you were 18?
I don't remember. Who
I guess it would have been second term Obama. Second term.
Oh, I did vote. I did vote for Obama. But I agree that
not racist.
But I agree that it is a little bit intimidating, especially because we're not educated on it as much as we should be. I feel like there should be more talk. I mean, there is talk about what a Democratic Party is, and but there's no talk about what is actually going on in the politics. Does that make sense? So I feel like if they were to talk more about what is actually going on in politics instead of the history of it, people would feel more confident, because I really don't know much about politics.
So, go ahead. When you're done.
No, so of course sometimes I'm like, I don't think I know enough about this to really vote on it, because I know that my vote makes an impact, and I want to make sure that if I'm going to vote for something that I know that I stand for it and that I'm educated,
For sure.
And I feel like that's kind of the main reason why young people don't vote, because they feel really disenfranchised, because they say disenfranchised and disillusioned, because they think well, what's the point of my involvement if in the end it's going to stay corrupt? They're going to somehow diminish my participation in some way where it does not work. Which there have been actual evidence where that has been the case. Where in voter suppression and manipulation.
Oh yeah, 100%.
But I feel like a lot of the youth now, that's why there's not much value, or why they don't go out as much. But I also feel like it's not just learning about how to vote. It's kind of just like what I said, is thinking that how voting will make a difference, which most people think it will not. So even if you know how to, it's kind of well, I don't really want to, because why? Why does it matter?
Yeah.
Well, so Tiani said something where it's I just wish that voting and politics were a lot easier to understand. The reason why it's more complicated to understand is the exact reason why they don't make it easier to understand, because they want to keep people out of the know. They want to keep policies completely under wraps, not understand how things are going, because they know that people are lazy. They know that people are not going to take the time out of their busy schedules, working 40 plus hours a week, super, super tired, to look up some information on the current bills that are being passed. They're just going to recognize a name. Then the way that they kind of break it down is and try to make it as digestible as possible. Here's two parties. Here's the Democratic, the Republican. Democratic, way more liberal. Republican, conservative. Vote which one you think falls in line with your view. That's how they break it down.
I will say that kind of thinking is not just young people. I feel like it's everyone. I feel like that's how pretty much Trump got into office.
No,
it's kind of just do you hate Obama? Do you hate Jesus? Vote for Trump. I'm yeah.
Do you love NASCAR?
I do want to say it's not. I wasn't saying that it should be easier. I'm saying that it should be discussed more.
Oh no, what I'm saying is that I agree with.
You're saying
I
that
agree with you that it should be a lot more digestible, a lot more easier for people to follow.
No, I'm not saying it should be easier to follow. I'm just saying it should be discussed more.
No, I know.
Do you know what I
Like
mean?
in school? Are you talking about?
In
Okay.
school.
Oh, yeah.
Like talk about what is going on currently in politics, because in school we only really learn about the history of it. We're not learning about what's actually going
Checks
on in
and balances.
politics.
Well, we kind of did in a sense, but only for like a short amount of time with like civics and economics.
Yeah.
I guess that would be our
That
most
was-
current
that
form
was-
of
that was-
education.
But
That's
it
like
was
the-
Shout out,
very
Mr.
little,
Peralta.
yeah. And
Yeah.
not
Shout
everyone,
out.
not everybody took that class, right?
No.
It was
No,
not
I
like
thought
optional.
I thought
No,
economics.
you could just take it in the summer if you wanted to. I took mine in the summer, so that was like 4 weeks.
I don't
Okay, I thought
remember.
civics and
Maybe.
economics was like
4 weeks is all you need to know. And now you are politics.
Yeah, exactly. But think about that concept. Oh, well, you can just take this class in the summer, therefore you are prepared to vote as like an 18-year-old.
Yeah, that doesn't.
Like
It
nobody
needs to be-
knew
it needs
what
to
the
be
hell they were
way
doing.
yeah,
But I do agree, T.
I don't want to say that we should just completely abolish the whole like
Abolish everything.
a history of voting, because I think like it would be much more informative to have people talk about current events more so.
Talk about bills.
I think it should be a balance between both. You know, I
Yeah.
think it's important to know the history and why we do the things that we do, but it's also important to be informed about what's actually going on.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think that's more important
Yeah.
for sure.
So, do you guys think that with the current climate that we're in, if it were Bernie up against Trump for 2020, the presidential election, do you think that Bernie would have a shot at beating Trump?
I have no clue, because the reason why is because I heard it's like whenever I've said I would vote for Bernie,
Mhm.
I get met with massive amounts of backlash from people like Bernie is not going to cut it.
What do they say?
They say, "Oh, he's too this, he's too far this way." Kind of like what Rod kind of said it early in the show. He doesn't want to play the game.
He doesn't want to play the political game.
You can't
win.
You can't give people stuff for free, like he's saying, because of taxes. And I'm just like, okay, so we can't give people what we want through taxes, but the taxes that we're currently paying, you're telling me we can't just kind of redistribute the budget?
There's other countries
We just had a
that do
$5
it.
trillion bailout.
Yeah,
for
I don't
COVID.
want to hear. I don't want to hear people
Yeah,
talk.
all of a sudden.
Yeah, I don't want to hear people talk.
Oh,
I don't want
I
to.
just found $5 trillion.
So I don't want to hear how much are we going to be paying more in taxes? The taxes that we pay are enough. We
Mhm.
need to be able to redistribute that and kind of change the budget a little bit.
Yeah.
but people aren't educated enough to know that. They just think, oh yeah, more taxes. When
I know, and I got that.
You're
It's
trying to
just-
raise my taxes, Sharon.
yeah, I know, but like
My
that's
money.
that's been the thing is like people hear all these things and they're like, and because we're in the United States, we're in such a bubble. Worldwide healthcare just sounds completely out of reach. But then if you go look over in other countries,
Canada.
it's happening just fine.
Switzerland.
Yeah.
People are able to like
Sweden.
Sweden.
yeah,
Sweden.
but like just they're able to deal with things like, oh, I don't know, a pandemic that is greatly
Yeah.
affecting the nation. Do you think that it's a coincidence that the place that doesn't have some form of universal health care or anything
Well,
else like that is
I
having
think we just realized that this
What is that,
capitalistic.
Brian? Is that your third eye?
The third eye just opened.
Third
I think we just realized though with this COVID pandemic, as much as we love capitalism and free market, that capitalism isn't built for a fucking pandemic. It's
No.
not built to. It's not built to handle anything like that.
No.
I do want to say something about what Speak said is you have a really good point that we're in this bubble and sometimes we forget that there's other countries
There's no other country.
You know what I mean?
There's USA, United States of America,
and the
and then
US.
US.
And then goddamn America.
We're undefeated in world wars.
And
There's no
NASCAR.
other country. All right.
But it's
NASCAR,
true.
Sharon.
Like, you know,
They're
there's
number one. COVID cases.
Never
Number
lost.
one.
Never lost.
Number one in COVID cases. Never lost.
Never.
Number one in
Never
deaths.
lost.
Never lost. Number one in obesity. Never lost.
Stop.
Number one in mass incarceration.
No.
Never lost.
Police brutality. Number one.
Yeah.
No,
What
but
other
yeah,
country
like,
has an NFL Super Bowl? I'm sorry.
Oh my
Never
God.
lost.
And not just that. You
Okay,
guys.
but let T go. I
Yeah,
didn't
go
want
ahead.
to.
Yeah.
Yes.
Sorry.
Sorry,
No,
T.
I'm just saying that I wish that people would understand that free healthcare isn't going to be like the death of us. You know, they make it seem like it's going to be like this thing that's going to just rock our world and change everything.
Whoa! You can't give out
Whoa,
free.
bro.
You can't give people free health care.
If you vote for free healthcare, you hate Jesus Christ.
Like for real, and all the countries that like you mentioned, all the countries that are providing free healthcare were able to get over the pandemic a lot sooner because as soon as someone got sick, they were able to go to the doctors. Here, not everyone has insurance. They're like, well, fuck. I mean, I can't really do much. I still have to go to work, and you know what I mean. And then they're
and that's
spreading it.
how it spread. There were a lot of
Yeah.
people that that were on the news saying that they knew they had COVID, but they still went to work
Because
they needed to.
They
do
need
their
money.
job.
Why
Think
is
how
it?
crazy
Why
that
could?
is.
And not just that. Like there were other countries that were freezing rent, like
Uh-huh.
other bills for like 3 months, so people felt comfortable enough to stay the
Mhm.
fuck home
Yeah.
and just get over it, and therefore flatten the curve.
Yeah. Well, we got $1,200. America
Once.
For
never
3
lost.
months.
Never lost.
Never lost. 1,200 not even covering rent.
So do
I
you think
know.
that this whole conspiracy with Bernie being snubbed is more of a conspiracy in regards to the DNC, or what most people / conspiracy theorists would attribute to the deep state? Because you had said something about how politicians, whether they be on the liberal or the conservative side, may not have Americans' best interests at heart.
Hell no.
So what I'm saying is that, do you think that the liberals and the conservatives are working for someone who is more powerful than the politicians that are being put in place?
100%. The 100%.
Deep state conspiracy.
Yeah, 100%. It's the people that have the monetary funds.
So the Rothschilds.
Not just the Rothschilds.
Sponsor the pod, Rothschilds.
But it's the people that have the monetary funds to kind of shift their weight around, so to speak, I guess, you know?
Okay.
And not just that, but like I think as we grow, like get older and start paying attention to things, we start realizing that the Democratic and the Republicans are in some way, shape, or form the same type of entity. They just go about things differently. That's the reason why we haven't seen much on the front lines. Like Democrats are supposed to be liberal and everything else of that nature, yet we don't have different police reforms. We don't have, certain policies that make, Black Lives Matter.
Democrats actually shut down a bill that was going to be for police reform.
Yeah.
It's kind of crazy.
Yeah.
What?
But they wore kente cloth. So
Yeah,
all good.
exactly. And they-
What?
The Democrats. Well, Chibs, do you want to jump on it?
Well, okay. Well, it wasn't so much that like they shut down a bill against police brutality. It was more like, just like what I said, it wasn't real change in my opinion. It was a Republican bill. They're saying just like, we're going to stop chokeholds, and that's it.
That's really what it was.
Yeah.
That's really what it was.
It wasn't just like, we're going to like defund the police. We're going to like
it wasn't
do
even
more like accountability. It was just like, oh yeah, I know, and chokeholds, and that's it.
No.
But
To be fair,
I have a question though.
Okay.
In regard to the chokeholds thing, so were they saying in the bill? Because I didn't read too much about the bill, but were they saying in the bill that if someone had died from a chokehold that they would be prosecuted, or was it just like we're just banning chokeholds?
Banning.
It was just
Basically,
like,
no. This is
it's banned.
no. This was the
So,
no.
deep state
No,
conspiracies.
you got because you have to also tell the full story. It wasn't just the fact that it was ban the chokehold. It was also ban the chokehold, but if their life is in danger, or that it's deemed necessary, then it's okay.
Oh,
So
well.
basically,
Yeah.
That doesn't do
basically,
What?
not banning the chokehold.
So
That
it's
makes
pre-
no sense.
So it's pretty much like we're in the same position that we're in now.
Exactly.
Deep state conspiracy. They're working for someone.
Yeah, exactly. It's open for interpretation of, oh, well, that was not. So now we got to go leave it to the Supreme Court judges to determine whether or not.
But circling back to like
sorry.
the Biden or the Bernie and Biden thing. So I don't know how closely y'all are paying attention during the race,
Mhm.
but Biden was like not doing good for maybe
No.
like 3/4 of the way.
Yeah.
Like,
It was Buttigieg
like
who was
Bernie,
really
he
leaning.
was in the top 3 literally the entire race.
Who?
But
Wait, who were we
Bernie.
talking? Oh,
But
Bernie. Yeah.
at some point, Biden was like like out of the 20, he was like 10th or 11th. At some time, like Biden was not doing good.
Yeah.
But so my question is like his big turnaround was in the Carolinas because he said the blacks are coming to back me up. That's how I'm going to like right through this.
If you don't vote for me, you're not
Exactly
black.
how it happened.
Yeah.
The blacks came out to vote. He came out on top, and that is so. I wonder, like, so how do y'all feel about that when they say like it's pretty much because of the black vote that Biden is not a nominee?
Man.
That Biden is not a nominee.
Or that
Is
now
now
is
the
now the
nominee
nominee.
Oh.
Oh,
I think black people want Obama era 2.0.
that's what they think that they're
That's what they
getting,
think that they're gonna get. If
and
they
that's
vote for
not what we're
Biden.
gonna be getting.
Yeah.
No.
Like, have you not seen this man? Have you seen this man hold a successful talk
No.
at all?
I don't
Like, at
know.
all.
A successful what?
Like just conversation, talk, complete a
He did say that if you don't vote for him, you're not black.
Yeah,
that was the one.
That was very clear.
That
verbatim.
one was clear.
Verbatim.
I mean, he is a state senator, so like, I mean, that's something, right?
Any
You
black
gotta
person
learn how
that
to talk to
doesn't
do that.
any black person that
Just
does not vote for Biden will turn into Sammy Sosa at the
What?
voting booth. You will turn white.
Ah.
That's crazy.
Your melanin will leave your body.
Oh,
no,
not
per Joe
not
Biden.
my melanin.
Not the melanin.
Not the melanin, guys. No.
Oh no.
But yeah, I don't know. I think that a lot of Afro Americans and blacks are voting for Biden because they think that they're going to get this Obama
That's the-
era
that's all-
presidency.
That's all.
But then
it
we
is.
also have to remember, like, what did Obama really do for black people? That was really just transcendent in how our lives.
What did
he do for the
changed during
country?
that
I mean,
time.
he did. Give
but
us-
I'm just saying
he
we're
did-
talking about the black vote.
He did
All
give.
lives
He
matter.
did give. I'm not saying like it's the best, but he did. He did set the kind of like framework with Obamacare to try to
I mean,
help.
I
try to
kind of understand though.
to help try to get us to a better form of universal health care.
Mhm.
And now President Trump is trying to take all of it away.
You only get health
Yeah,
care.
and I kind of understand like the other side of the argument because like President Obama, you know, at the end of the day, he was the president for all Americans, not just for a certain group of Americans. But I understand what you're trying to say, Rod.
Well, it's only because Chibs only brought up the black vote in the Carolinas for Biden. That's the only reason why I was talking about the black vote.
Okay.
Just in terms of that. But why do you think that black people were voting more for Biden over Bernie?
I
What do you
don't-
think it is with Bernie and
I
the
don't
black vote that he
know.
wasn't able
Because
to secure it?
I honestly, to be completely wholeheartedly honest, I don't really get it because
I don't either.
He
because
fought for
because
black
I'm
issues.
that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm
Yeah.
saying. I'm
Over,
like,
like, time
and
and
that's
time
what's
again.
so funny to me is like I was talking to my mom,
Mhm.
and she's like, "Oh no, Bernie's asking for way too much." I'm like, "You realize that we black,
Mhm.
and he's trying to help us,
Yeah.
like as a whole, not just like me and you, but just the whole people."
Mhm.
And you're telling me that you're willing to vote for somebody that
I guess like old black people think of it as like,
it's
or old African American folks, older African American folks think of it like, oh, like our taxes are going to be used. He's going to ask more taxes and
People have
pay
also
for all
brought
the
up an
shit.
issue.
Like they probably see
well,
that way as well.
yeah, exactly.
Okay,
That's
Yeah, I
exactly
will
what it
say
is.
that, like older black people are a little more conservative than like a lot of
Yes.
people think.
Yes.
You know,
Yeah.
they're not really like as progressive as like, oh, you're a person of color, you're progressive. Nah, those older black folks, now they're real.
No, they're
Yeah.
like,
Cool,
The
like,
older
yeah,
black
so-
generation
school.
is very
Like my parents.
conservative.
My parents are like that.
yeah, like they just I don't get how people like can look and say like, oh, we're gonna have to pay more in taxes, where it's like, no. You can, if you look at our budget and everything else of that nature, you can tell that where we're diverting funds to, like,
Mhm.
oh, trying to make a cut in the budget of the police.
Remove the Space Force.
Remove the Space Force. Why not just divert some of that into the public school system, so that way people of that look like me, that look like T, that look like Shivs, that look like everybody in this podcast
Mhm.
have a better shot of getting through the educational system. Therefore, they can get into colleges, and that way our college population of black is not like less than 10%.
Yeah. I just think
See, but that's the thing, like politicians are banking on like, you know, people not being informed enough to know these
Mhm.
things.
Yeah, I know, I got it. I'm just saying, like,
it kind of ties back to what we were talking about in the last podcast with Niall. Because really the way I see it, and I know I've been joking a lot about like deep state conspiracies and all this, but I just think that if you're a politician that's on the left or on the right, you have to play the game.
yeah,
You have to play the game that's set for you to play, whether you're on left leaning or right leaning. And you've seen candidates like Bernie who have talked about the people, or another candidate like my boy, shout out to Andrew Yang, that was, very for the people, talking about UBI. What
Mhm.
about if something happened? You saw a couple months later this pandemic hit and people were like, oh, we don't have money. You saw that he was also snubbed off a lot of like mainstream news and a
Mhm.
lot of things like that.
Mhm,
So
mhm, mhm.
I just think that there's validity to Bernie being snubbed because he's not willing to play the game. And I think that the same way that people say, oh, Trump's not a politician, it's like he might not be, but he still plays the game. He still plays the business game. He still gives the people their tax
Yeah.
breaks. He still helps out
That's all
businesses.
he's doing. That is all.
But that's the thing. That's all you need to do.
Yeah, no,
you know?
I get it. I'm just saying, like, that's all he's doing is helping that,
Yeah.
that specific percentage of people that are making more money than a lot of people will see in their lifetime.
Yeah, because you have to understand. Like, look at the Forbes list of billionaires. Those people have all profited off coronavirus.
Yeah, Jeff
Bezos
Bezos just
making billions.
Yeah.
While people
How
were in
you
a
get?
pandemic.
How do you get?
He's about to become the first trillionaire.
Yeah. How do you get
That's
richer
insane.
Yeah.
during a pandemic when people don't have money to pay?
Yeah. Well, because everyone was shopping on Amazon.
No,
buying
it's not.
masks on-
But it's not
like-
just. But it's not just that too. The businesses that got the bailout,
Mhm.
they didn't need. They're good.
Yeah.
Sorry. Whew.
Shout out to the Lakers.
Whew. Hold on. Sorry. Almost gave out my employer.
Oh.
Just
Oh.
completely.
Yeah. Beep, beep, beep.
Yeah. But a company that
Uh-huh.
said that they are completely good for the year, wouldn't need to sell anything. They're good right now. Why the hell do you need to reopen then during a pandemic?
Money
Oh, did you guys know that
that
the government gave I think $1.2 billion to people in the what's it called quarantine money
Mm-hmm.
to people that passed away?
Yes.
Yes.
Heard
yeah.
that too.
What?
That they
Yeah.
were sending stimulus checks to people who had already passed.
Yeah, stimulus checks for people who already died.
Yeah.
So smart.
That's
Yeah, I heard about that, and there's no way to return it. Like, if you got it and say, I don't want this, there's no way to return it because there's no system to do
Yeah.
that.
Wait, what do you mean?
So let's say if God forbid, but
Yeah.
someone in your family that lived at your house died, and you got a check for them for their stimulus check, you couldn't send that back. It's like you just keep it.
Oh,
Like you can't send back that money. Like it's just yours now.
Fuck. Oh,
What
shit.
the? What?
Yeah.
Oh shit.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
What is
how
going on?
but that's how incompetent a lot of these
People in
agencies
power.
are being run.
Yeah.
And it's not
And
I mean, I can't
some
even
students, some foreign exchange students who aren't even citizens of this country,
we're getting checked.
got
Illegals, you
stimulus
say?
checks.
Yeah. Not citizens?
Hey.
No.
They're taking our jobs, and now they're taking our money.
They're taking our chicks. They're taking our chicks.
Next thing you know, they're gonna be taking our women.
Oh my gosh.
They're not citizens and they're taking our chicks.
Hey,
We
but
just grow a mustache.
I saw what was it? I saw Twitter University again, but apparently
What do you?
farmers are experiencing major losses, I guess, in workers due to COVID or whatever.
Mhm.
And with the whole immigration and people that usually work there usually are undocumented workers, and
Yeah.
since they're being so hard on immigration and things like that, they're
Mhm.
starting to realize that their workforce is being diminished.
Yeah.
So now it's a good time for those people that are claiming, "Oh, all these undocumented people are taking our jobs. Go ahead and
Yeah.
work on. Go ahead,
Apply.
Sign up.
go
apply.
ahead, go
Apply
ahead.
for
You want
$2 an
Your
hour.
job is open?
Yeah, your
We
job is now
are
open.
farmers. Bum, ba-dum, bum, bum, bum.
So I think
They're taking our jobs.
Yeah.
we need to take our job. We
Yeah.
don't want these ones.
Yeah, take your jobs back. That's always been the argument. Okay, so wrapping things up with this podcast, we'll start off with Chibs, Alif, go to Speaks, go to T. Has the DNC conspired against Bernie?
100%.
Is it the youth vote that's not voting for him? What are your final thoughts?
My final thoughts is for maybe it was in the last one, yes, but I feel like in this one, it was a little more fair, just because I feel like if they were backing Biden, Biden would have been number one from jump,
Mm,
And for a long time, people were wondering like if he was going to be the one, and I feel like people came out to vote for him, and like a lot, even the DNC, I don't feel like we're super strong about him
mhm.
until I got all that support, and they're like, oh, maybe he can do this. So it wasn't like, okay, Bernie can't be the one, so we need to destroy him. Like, I don't think that was the case.
Yeah.
It's just kind of like Bernie. Biden got some momentum, and he kind of rode it to the end. And I feel like it was still like neck and neck at some point. I feel like it could have been Bernie or Biden, but just in the end, it was Biden.
Yeah. Okay. Alif?
Just like at the beginning of this pod, I don't think it's totally far fetched that he got snubbed. Honestly, if they came out with facts and sources, I wouldn't be surprised.
We will never get
Because
those facts.
you piece everything together, it makes sense,
Yeah.
You know,
Okay. Speaks.
He 100% got snubbed. I will not be told otherwise.
Sheesh. Both or just the first one?
way more in the first one.
2016.
100%. This one definitely did, because just the massive amounts of Democratic like representatives that I saw that were so like hardcore against them. Like I forget her name.
Who, Warren?
No.
Harris?
It was no.
Sarah Palin?
No, it was like it was what?
Sarah Palin.
But no, it was somebody. She was of Indian Arab descent. I can't remember her name.
The one in Minnesota, the representative.
I'll look for it after the podcast.
Ilhan Omar?
Yes.
Maybe.
Or...
I don't.
Bleep that out. Bleep that out.
Oh shit!
Bleep that out.
What?
Hold up.
Wait, what?
Hold up.
Wait,
Okay.
Isn't the other Muslim
Anyways,
Let's move on.
Anyways,
timestamp.
I forget
Ghost
her name. But they asked, they're like, "Oh, so then are you telling me that if Bernie was the actual DNC nominee, or the Democratic nominee, you would hardcore vote for Trump instead of Bernie just because you don't agree with the views?" And then she couldn't bring herself to say it.
Mhm.
All she could say was, "I am immensely against Bernie becoming the Democratic nominee." And her sentiments were definitely shared all throughout the party.
Yeah.
And that, to me, tells me, yeah, no, 100%. This man was like, "This, look, you're not winning this.
Snubbed.
Yeah, there's no way you're winning this."
Sacramento Kings in 2000 against the Lakers.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, T, final thoughts?
I think the first one, yes. The second one, it sounds sketch too. I don't know. They're both a little sus.
A little
to me.
sketchy.
Yeah.
A little
Oh, wait.
suspect.
I like to correct myself.
Uh-huh.
So the congresswoman that I was talking about, her name is Rashida Tlaib or Tlaib.
Yes.
Gotcha.
I'm sorry if I'm butchering that. I'm butchering that probably.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm glad.
Rashida
I'm glad
Tlaib. We cleared that up.
Glad that was a very good clear up, sir.
So my final thoughts, I agree with everybody. No, I'm just kidding. I think the first election for sure was rigged. There's no way that you can trust Clinton, to see what really happened. The second one, I would agree more with Chibs that Biden didn't start off as a strong candidate. So I don't think the DNC really had Biden go up against Bernie. But then again, I wouldn't be surprised because you also had a lot of people like Warren, Buttigieg that were like up there with Bernie. And I think that this year was Bernie's best shot. I would attribute Bernie losing this year to the youth vote and youth voters not turning out.
Do you think that had a lot to do with voter suppression, though?
And also, I feel like Bernie,
I don't know.
His platform became the platform for the party, so it's hard for him to stand out more. I feel like because before he was just like, "Oh my god, like he's so progressive." Now, like all of a sudden, everyone is progressive now.
Yes,
trying to be progressive.
That's the standard.
Trying to be, and you might see that in the 2024 election where maybe people start bringing like UBI to the forefront, and that might be another progressive like talking point to like kind of diminish like smaller.
I find it funny that like because that's the whole like getting $1,000 a month or whatever. $1,200 a month. Doing that would you guys rather see? I guess we can talk about this maybe for another episode.
Another topic.
But would you guys rather see? Would you rather get $1,200 a month, or would you rather have like universal health care covered and things of that nature, like insurances of all kinds covered instead?
Why can't I get the best of both worlds?
I think we should talk about that for sure.
No. Yeah. So we
next time on the Millennial Minute.
Put that Dragon Ball Z closeout. Like, will Rod and Speaks agree on UBI? Find out next time on the Millennial Minute. But if you guys have listened thus far, we appreciate you guys' support. One way to really add on to that support would be to subscribe to this podcast and hit us with a comment, rate us 5 out of 5 stars. We would really appreciate it. So we thank you guys for listening and for being such huge supporters. Shout out again to Colin for the topic.
Yes.
Golf clap for Colin.
Woo! You the best.
Colin, show. So,
Colin Sharon.
So we appreciate you for being a Patreon subscriber. Thank you for everyone who's been subscribing on Patreon and giving us that reparations, we love to see it.
Mhm.
So thank you guys again. And until next week, peace out.
Bye.
Bye.
Cheryl.